Good day and welcome to our online learning channel. We are looking today at a lesson on word level work, which is our lesson 7 on pronouns. Lesson 7, pronouns. I have examples of pronouns for you there just to remind you what we refer to as pronouns. Subject pronoun, object pronoun, possessive pronoun. Subject pronoun I, object will be me, possessive mine. You, yours. He, him, and his. She, her, and hers. Right, those are examples of pronouns. Just to remind you, pronouns, I know we are well aware of what pronouns are, but most probably we have just forgotten. Right, our objectives for this lesson, by the end of the lesson, you should be able to define pronouns. That is number 1. And number 2, explain the functions of pronouns. And you must be able to give different examples of types of pronouns. And of course, you must be able to identify them from a text. Those are our objectives for our lesson today. Right, let's look at meaning and functions of pronouns. Meaning and functions of pronouns. What is a pronoun and what are its functions? Right, a pronoun is a word which takes a place of a noun. Remember, a noun being a name of anything. That which takes place of a noun becomes a pronoun. Functions of pronouns. Number 1, a pronoun stands in the place of a noun as indicated before. Therefore, a pronoun performs a similar function as a noun. A pronoun will perform a similar function as a noun. For example, we have a sentence there, Paul plays netball. Then, when we replace the noun Paul, we will use the pronoun she. She plays netball. I think that is clear there that then the pronoun performs a similar function as that of a noun. Number 2, a pronoun helps in avoiding repetition. We use pronouns to avoid repetition. For example, Tom is a runner and he is also a singer. We avoid repeating the name Tom through the use of a pronoun he. So if ever we were not going to use the pronoun, the sentence was going to read, Tom is a runner, Tom is also a singer. So to avoid repetition, we use a pronoun. Number 3, pronouns change depending on their usage. They change depending on their usage. For example, they like singing, but they won't allow a pianist to assist them. It changes depending on the usage. Is it a noun or is it the object in the sentence? Right? It's very important for us to note that pronouns will be determined by the gender. If it's male, if we are referring to a male individual, then we use pronouns he, him, his, etc. When it's a female, we look at pronouns she, her, hers. Remember that, because half the time some of us we confuse the pronouns. They are also determined by the gender we are referring to. Right, let's move on and look closely at the types of pronouns. Types of pronouns. Right, I have for you the number one, personal pronoun. A personal pronoun, for example, I. Personal pronoun I. And then we have number two, possessive pronouns. Possessive, mine. That is an example. It belongs to me, it is mine. Then we have number three, reflexive pronouns. Myself, himself. Number four, interrogative pronouns. Which, what. Those are interrogative pronouns. Most probably, they are asking questions. Then we have number five, demonstrative pronouns. For example, that. Number six, indefinite pronouns, such as one. Number seven, relative pronouns, whose, whose. Those are different types of pronouns. Different types of pronouns. Those are different types of pronouns we have there. Then let's look at the personal pronoun quickly. Personal pronoun. What is a personal pronoun? These pronouns refer specifically to people or things. These refer specifically to people or things, subjects or objects. They are usually used together with possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives. For example, she finishes her money before month end. She finishes her money before month end. Then another example, it ran away last week. It being the personal pronoun. He likes dancing. He is a personal pronoun. Right, those are examples of personal pronouns. Possessive pronouns. These indicate ownership, both singular and plural. They represent ownership both in singular terms and in plural terms. For example, your story was interesting. It is your story, therefore, she possesses it. This is mine, it belongs to me, and this is yours. I can tell by the different colors. Possessive pronouns. Its nest was burnt by the hunters. The nest belonged to it, therefore it is its nest. It was burnt by the hunters. Those are our examples of possessive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns. These pronouns always reflect back to the noun and end in self or selves. They refer back to the noun and they will end in self or selves. Let's look at examples. We hid ourselves under the bridge when we saw the gang approaching. Ourselves being the reflexive pronoun. She is so proud of herself. Herself being our reflexive pronoun there. John kicked himself for failing the test. Himself is the reflexive pronoun. Take note, you will always tell it's a reflexive pronoun when there is self or selves. Our next pronoun is the interrogative pronoun. Interrogative pronouns. These ask questions. The W are word questions. For example, whose bag is this? Whose is our interrogative pronoun. Who stole the money? Who is the pronoun. What are you doing? What being the pronoun. These pronouns always ask questions. They always help us ask questions, the interrogative pronouns. The demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronouns. The definition. These point out a thing or a specific person, both singular or plural. They point out a thing or a specific person, both singular or plural. For example, that is the house. We're pointing out that specific house. Maybe it's the house where he stays or where something happened. This is unacceptable. Maybe it's the kind of work which has been done. We are pointing it out to say it is unacceptable. Those two are good dancers. We are pointing out the two people who are doing well in dancing. Demonstrative pronouns point out a thing or a specific person. Indefinite pronouns. What are these? These refer to things or people in general. Referring to things or people in general. Indefinite pronouns. For example, someone stole my pen. So it's indefinite. We do not know who exactly stole the pen, but someone did. Number 2, everyone stayed at home. All the people stayed at home. We do not know, or we cannot specify, but it's so indefinite. Everyone did stay at home. Number 3, they arrived on time. They being our pronoun there. So not indefinite pronouns refer to things or people in general. They generalize the indefinite pronouns. Then we get to the relative pronouns. Relative pronouns. These perform the same function as conjunctions. Perform the same function as conjunctions. They refer back to someone or something mentioned in the sentence. So those are their two functions, performing the same function as a conjunction and referring back to someone or something mentioned before in the sentence. Let's look at an example. Jane, this is Jane, whose father died last week. So this Jane is the same whose father died previously. So we are mentioning or we are referring back to Jane who has been mentioned before in the sentence. and 6 relative pronouns that are commonly used. 6 relative pronouns that we use commonly. Let's look at those which refer to people first. Who, whom, and whose. Those relative pronouns are usually used to refer to people. And those which refer to animals or inanimate objects, that, which, and what. Those are our examples of relative pronouns commonly used. And take note, relative pronouns will perform the same functions as conjunctions, and they will refer back to someone or something mentioned before in a sentence. Relative pronouns also replace pronouns. Like we said, we want to look at now examples. This is my dog. It likes playing on the grass. This is my dog. It likes playing on the grass. This is my dog which likes playing on the grass. So note there, the first 2 sentences there. This is my dog and it likes playing on the grass. Those will be 2 sentences joined by a conjunction, and then comes the relative pronoun. Relative pronouns replace pronouns in general, not conjunctions in this example. Pronouns, the pronoun it has been replaced by a relative pronoun which. Number 2, relative pronouns replace conjunctions. Okay, that's where we are now. I am disappointed in him because he failed the exam. Conjunction because will be replaced by the pronoun who. I am disappointed in him who failed the exam. So let's recap that again and clarify it again. Relative pronouns replace pronouns. Okay. The pronoun it has been replaced by the relative pronoun which. Relative pronouns replace conjunctions, and the conjunction because has been replaced by the relative pronoun who. Please take note of that. Right, we are moving to our activity. I want us to read it carefully. It's an extract from the novel The Lord of the Flies, written by William Golding. Lord of the Flies, William Golding. I will read it quickly, and I want you to then identify all the pronouns and their functions as they appear there. Identify the pronouns and their functions. It reads, Ralph continued to blow till his ears were singing with the effort. But then the first breeze of dawn took the job off his hands and blinded him with ashes. Grey feathery ashes carried hither and thither at his breath, but no spark shone among them. In the short chill of dawn, the 4 boys gathered round the black smudge where the fire had been, while Ralph knelt and blew. He squatted back, saw, and rubbed water out of his eyes. The twins watched anxiously, and Piggy sat expressionlessly behind the luminous wall of his myopia. That is the reading activity there. Identify all the pronouns and their functions. I want you to just take a moment quickly, identify them, and then when we get to the solution, I want to believe we will be moving together then. Look at each paragraph, see how many pronouns you can identify. It's an easy activity. And what are the functions? Okay. In paragraph 1, we have his ears, his, and his hands, another his. Those are possessive pronouns. Paragraph 1, check quickly. His ears and his hands, those are our possessive pronouns. Then in the same paragraph, we have him, which is a personal pronoun. Paragraph 2, we have he, which is a personal pronoun, and his eyes, which is again a possessive pronoun. Look at paragraph 2. I hope I did not omit any other. Paragraph number 3. Or it's paragraph 4, sorry. His myopia. His myopia. His, we have seen already, is a possessive pronoun. And in paragraph 2, I think we had omitted that. His breath, is it in paragraph 2? His breath, he is also being possessive. I think mostly we see, quite a number of possessive pronouns, but we can see there are 2 personal pronouns as well. So in a way, when you are given an extract or a passage, you must be able to identify those pronouns if need be, and you must know their functions there. Right, that is our solution there. Right, in conclusion, we are just recapping. Pronouns stand in places of nouns to avoid repetition. That is key. And they also substitute conjunctions to allow more coherence. That is very important. Thus, they play a vital role in English grammar. We cannot do without conjunctions. Otherwise, our work will be just monotonous. John went to school. John wrote. John came home. It's so monotonous. It's so repetitive. So in a way, to avoid that, we use pronouns. And it's important to note, avoid using a pronoun before you introduce the subject. You can't just begin by writing, he went home. We will wonder who went home. We must know first, John went home. He wrote his homework at home. Okay, so now we know that this he is referring to John. So don't just begin by writing using a pronoun, and avoid using a pronoun just soon after the noun. because that brings about a grammatical error. You have heard people saying, John, he saw the car. That is very wrong, you can tell. But if we are using John, we use him solely there as a noun, John saw the car. Or if we are using a pronoun, we use it solely, he saw the car. I hope we have learned quite a lot on our pronouns and their functions. As for now, our lesson ends now. Till we meet again. Good day.